Welcome to the Phlarpin Podcast. Phlarp stands for Park Hills Live Action Role Players. We are a medieval fantasy-themed LARP group that engages in unscripted combat against each other using padded LARP weapons and a shared combat system. We operate out of Park Hills, Missouri every Sunday from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. It is our hope here at the Phlarpin Podcast that through the utilization of this platform, we can expand on the ideas and suggestions taken from our players in order to maximize player retention and to expand our player base. The Phlarpin Podcast is made possible by support from our players and listeners like you. If you would like to support us, please visit our Patreon where you can do so for as little as $3 a month. Also, any engagement on our YouTube or Facebook pages is much appreciated, and thank you for listening. Okay, welcome to the Phlarpin Podcast, Take 2. My name is Jason Smith, or North.
And I'm Brandon Frazier, or Daveen Alwyn.
And I'm Cody Ross, or Heston Iverson.
And it is...
6'4".
6'4".
Yeah.
And I want to start out by talking a little bit about Country Days, because it was pretty awesome.
It kind of was awesome, actually. I feel like we got a lot of exposure this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, outside the heat, it was definitely a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of local exposure too, which is nice. You know, going to like the 5K was really cool, but who knows who's going to come down here from all the way up there?
Except
but
for me.
Is like right next in the next town over.
Right.
So, pretty awesome. Yeah, except for you every weekend. So
that's okay. To be fair, though, I originally was down here. I think that's why it works for me, and I just don't like Amguard's rules, and that's like the only game up there. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I do think it's cool.
So do I.
How'd the booth go, by the way?
Country Days was really cool. I mean, the booth wasn't, I don't know, it was okay, but like, we weren't, maybe we could have been a little bit more organized with what we were selling and how we had set up. I think we needed something maybe next year that if we get a booth again even, to have some kind of informational thing that they can read, because some people...
Like a pamphlet or something?
Yeah.
Or even just a big, trifold piece of cardboard that's like a,
Explains
have you
what
heard of
we
LARP?
are.
It's like a Q&A or something. So that the people... Because there were a few people that would walk by and they weren't interested enough to come over and, say anything. We had to, go say something to them or walk over to, or, holler out to them or whatever. And some of them kind of... We didn't even really engage with them much, and they just kind of looked at us for a minute and then left. Whereas if we had something there for them to read, they could have at least figured out what we're about a little bit,
Sure.
But I mean, it went pretty good. I will say, I think I handed out way more cards than the booth did. But
yeah,
I mean that's fair. I was like I said, on the parade alone, I probably handed out 100 cards. At some point, I was like, I'm out of cards, and thankfully, Cody had some more cards.
Yeah.
He gave me another stack. I handed all those out too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And also, I was I was a little worried that this year we had done popsicles, which I didn't get them frozen all in time, but some of them were frozen. It was all right. It was better than.
I will say that I think the popsicle idea was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish we would have had time to freeze them all the way.
Right.
But it was so hot that it was just like a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really even. I was afraid that it would have been an unreasonable investment, basically. It was going to be more. I was going to run out of popsicles and have to buy next, then if we ever did it again, I would have a through line and know how much to buy, but I didn't even know if I wanted to invest that much money in popsicles. But I basically bought 10 packs of 24 for $2.99 a piece or something. So it was $30, $37 or something after tax for, 240 popsicles. And we had quite a bit left over. We were giving them to the other people in the parade as they rode by and trying to just kind of hand them out to whoever.
And it was hot. And even the Phlarpers got some at the end, which was nice because it seemed like that walk was way longer than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Which is funny because when they told me how long it was, I was like, oh, that's nothing. And then I walked it and I'm like, man, I'm tired. It was hot.
Honestly, I think the walk was way worse than actually walking it. We were just waiting there for an hour. We lost a player to the heat.
True.
I thought I was going to drop because I was wearing a fur mantle at 90-degree weather, but
And I originally a lot of the people parked a little bit further away than the parade lineup, so we ended up walking a little bit even further than we really even would have had we been able to figure out where to park so that we could have gotten close enough to the lineup. But that's how we lost the one player before we even really started. Yeah. Because they got overheated.
So. It was no shade, and the sun was directly on top of us.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, once we got going, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was over pretty quick and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was certainly happy to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think that's something we should start doing annually.
I agree.
Right.
Shout out to Ajay. He handed out a lot of cards too,
Mm-hmm.
all
Yeah,
in character.
and he was doing some crazy role play too,
Yeah.
like some good role
His
play.
Yeah.
stumbling, and
Mhm.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, at one point I thought like he was role playing so well. I thought, is he
People-
okay or is he just role playing?
Yeah.
And then I realized what he was doing. I was like, oh, he's role playing. Okay,
That's
I
the
get it.
best kind of.
I was a
role
little afraid he was gonna fall a few
Or
times.
stumble into
Yeah,
somebody or
but
something.
he didn't. So he was handing out a lot of cards.
And I think what he did is actually what I'm going to try to do next year. Like if I just doing the walking around thing, whether we have a booth or whether we just walk, like I was saying, I would even consider just straight up just walking around. Like if we had a place we could go to cool off every 2 hours, leave that place, go walk around in a big group all dressed up in costume,
Yep.
and people just were gravitating to even if they were just asking, even if they were like, hey, cool costume, I'd be like, hey, thanks, you want a card?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, okay, you know, whatever. And then I'd be like, all right, have a good day. And I'd just bail, you know,
Yeah.
make that, it'd be just a real quick thing, you know. But it was allowing me to hand out a bunch of cards without, like, minimal effort. I was like, this is easy.
Yeah.
And then
was
Wilhelm was,
nice.
like, having to, like, go over and, like, engage conversations with people and be like, hey, man, you want a card? You know, have you ever considered LARP before? And had to kind of talk them into taking it. Whereas I was just, like, standing there, basically, you know. So I didn't have to put in near as much effort, but...
I mean, there was a couple times during the parade I like went to hand out Phlarp cards. Like, you interested in Phlarp? And they'd be like, and I'd be like, well, pretend you are anyway. But you know, because you know, maybe sometimes people are on the fence about it, and they
Mhm.
just need that little extra push. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did enjoy it. I thought it was good, and I'm happy to do it again next year. So
Mhm. And I was also able to redeem myself a little bit with whenever I went to MaxCon, there were a few times, or it was SEMOCon, there were a few times that people were trying to take pictures with me, and like at one point, I didn't know how to pose for the pictures, and like you know, it was very awkward
it was
for
just
me.
like I don't know what to do with my hands. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then I had also knelt down on like somebody else's like stuff whenever I was kneeling down to take a picture with somebody at the SEMOCon thing. So I feel like all the pictures I took were really between now and then I had seen how like some other people had done it, and they always just do like they pick a pose and they just do that over and over, and that's what I did. I just picked like a thumbs up, and like when everybody be like, hey, can I take a picture? They'd be like, heck yeah, and then I just do like a thumbs up like this, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just can't see me, but whatever. But yeah, I just take a thumb out, and yeah, you know. And it was really cool. Like, there's a bunch of little kids that
Yeah.
took pictures with me and stuff. It was awesome.
Some poor kid tried kneeling on the concrete.
Yeah, he was trying to do what I
Yeah.
was doing because I tried to kneel down by him to take the picture, and then
Yeah.
he tried to kneel and do the same exact pose I did, but he was trying to keep his knee from touching the ground because he had shorts on. It was the hot pavement.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. We got the picture taken.
Yep.
though. So
I will say that you know, moving forward with this or whatever, when we do this again, I think mood is so important because like if people see us, you know, dressed the way we are, having a good time, people gravitate towards that.
Mhm.
They're like, oh wow, they look like they're having fun. I want to do that.
Mhm.
You know.
yeah, and I want to like play around in my head a little bit with the dialogue that I know, where I have like sort of like responses and things that I can say over and over, you know, that is in character, kind of like what Ja was doing, which is my original point. Is next year I want to try to do the whole thing in character when I'm walking around, talking to people
It's a
and
good
stuff.
goal.
Because there were a few people that said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm an original character. I'm North or whatever, you know, and I'm just a medieval fantasy ranger or whatever, you know."
Yeah.
Instead of being like, "Oh, I'm North. I hail from Darvashan, in the town over in the hills of Park or whatever, you know." I end
Right.
up going with, and
Which
then,
is probably a better answer than I was giving because a lot of us got that question. And my
Mhm.
answer was like, oh well, we're Phlarp. You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I my answer was like more literal. Like,
Yeah.
who are you? Oh, we're Phlarp. We LARP. We're at Columbia Park every
Right.
Sunday, 1 to 5. You know, so like
there's even
very
more
different answers. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
hmm
I almost wonder. I like the character thing. I just almost wonder if they're asking, where do I do this? And
Oh,
so like
yeah.
it's kind of a tough.
It'd be like a balance between the two, maybe. Is
Yeah.
it is the
Maybe you have
Is
two
a
people
better-
there, one in character and one to give the actual details of the.
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, I thought it was good. I really did.
Yeah, and I mean, really did. I had a phenomenal day whenever I walked around because it was like, I don't know. I guess I got a huge ego, and it was a great ego boost.
Sure.
But I had my whole costume going again, which was pretty cool. It does look cool when I have the
Your
dragon on there. Was a
Yeah.
huge
Pretty
difference.
cool. Yeah, I agree.
He got a lot of questions about like how he made it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people are impressed with the hair clip backbone.
I
but-
wasn't, just to be clear.
Okay, cool.
I was. I think it's a cool costume.
Don't
Thank
suck
you.
up
Thank
to
you.
him.
I was impressed too.
I bet you were. Anytime we have a play of the day, North's like, well, what I did today.
Right. Speaking of which, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I thought Country Days was a huge success, and how I would, in my opinion, it was a success in that we got a lot of advertisement out there. We had a lot of people, interacting with us and engaging with us. I handed out a ton of cards. Like I said, took quite a few pictures. And another thing I want to, I don't know if I'll remember it by then, but another thing is we could tell them, hey, you can tag us on TikTok or Facebook or, whatever.
I'm sure we'll remember that. We need to have a stronger social media presence for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something we can start working on.
Yeah, because some of them were like younger teens and stuff, that were
You're good. I'm just moving your
taking
stuff
pictures. They were taking pictures with me and stuff, and it would have been cool if I'd have thought of that. I didn't think about it till afterward, but yeah, it was a really, really awesome day. Yesterday was like I was on cloud 9 by the end of the day.
Oh, I noticed. I enjoyed your message at the end of the day. It was nice.
Yeah.
So we were
Cool.
basically just thanking everybody involved and
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody. I appreciate. Yeah, and I'll do that again. It's just shout out to I really appreciate everybody's effort and time that they're putting into it. Because
it doesn't happen without everyone's effort.
Yeah.
and it's that time and effort, the payback that the person gets. It's not monetary.
Mm,
right.
They're not getting any money for this or anything. They're just doing it because they want to be part of Phlarp and they're trying to support Phlarp. And, we're all trying to come together as a community and make it happen, and I think everybody did that.
Yeah.
Did a
Agreed.
really awesome
Especially
job at
like showing up in the heat and like full costume and
Mhm.
toughing it out.
it. Mm-hmm. True.
I agree.
Okay. So
Are you ready for Daveen's corner?
I'm ready for Daveen's Corner.
always
All
ready.
right, let's get some stuff going here.
Daveen's
I gotta-
Corner.
I gotta use my-
Woo! This is it.
All right, that's all I got for that.
Okay.
All right, so the first one. A bunch of deer walk out of a bar,
Okay.
and one of them says, "I can't believe I just blew $30 in there." Okay, that's the first one.
It's an expensive time.
Yeah, that's like $30? Man, that's rough. All right. Anyway, veterinarians won't tell you this,
Uh-oh.
but if you have a dog with a fever, go to the store and buy him some mustard. It's the absolute best thing for a hot dog.
Okay. All right. That was pretty funny.
That's
I
the one
actually,
I thought was better.
Yeah.
I actually might use that at my job. I'll tell
You
my
should.
tell my
It's
boss
hilarious.
that. Yeah.
But anyway, that was Daveen's
Daveen's
corner.
Woo! Pretty good.
That's all I had today.
Nice.
Anyway, did we, just out of curiosity, did we have a suggestion box today?
Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
I didn't
There
know if
wasn't
anybody-
very many in it, but
It was kind of.
some of them were mine.
Today was kind of. I don't want to say unorganized. Just
It was
everything got. It
haphazard.
was a little hectic whenever
Yeah.
we got kicked out of the one pavilion,
Right.
which, to be fair, is our fault. We should have checked to make sure it wasn't reserved.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
happens.
And the other unfortunate thing is that they were there for like an hour.
And then
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, to be fair, we did kind of rally together and move pretty quickly.
Yep.
So everybody played a role in that. I
Um,
think you did a good job at like organizing everybody there.
And it was kind of cool playing at that little like gazebo thing because we've played there before in the past and it's always a cool like interesting location.
I mean, there's room there.
Yeah.
That wasn't the problem. The problem is, fortunately today we didn't really need any electric for things or anything like that, so that was fortunate. And we did push the big cook-off that we were planning on having until next week, so everybody can look forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Speaking
think
of
that there was a
which-
whole bunch of meat bought and stuff, but we didn't get a chance to cook it. So
Yeah,
we're just
my
gonna do it next
understanding
week.
though is it's going to be like refrozen or whatever, and we'll just eat it
Mhm.
next week. So,
Cool.
and I'm good with that. So, people were pretty stressed out today. There was no sense in insisting that I mean, I don't even know where we would have cooked it after we moved. So,
But we made do and made it happen.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. I'm happy with the way today turned out. Absolutely. Do you want to do these first?
Yeah, we
want,
can. There's
you
not
wanna
like
do
a
the
ton of 'em.
recap today first? We'll just do these.
We'll
first.
just do these first because there's not a ton of them. So I want to read this one because this one's kind of more on me.
Okay.
It says,
I
please
mean-
update the podcast intro. It's still saying Patreon membership is $3 when the minimum is $5. I agree it is, and I will change it. So,
Okay.
pretty easy.
You can ask this one. This one's got my name in it, even though it's not accurate, but that's okay. Is that all we got? Is one each? Two each? Okay.
Yeah, and this one's just kind of a reminder. Someone else want to go? You're going to get this reminder
Yeah.
out of the way.
Hands above head, win dead.
Okay, so that
Agreed.
was that was just from a player helping. They were just trying to reiterate
that when people are dead, to make sure to put your weapons above your head because it gets confusing if
Yeah.
you don't.
It's also
So-
sometimes you'll end up getting like shot with an arrow or something. You're already dead, and
Right. True. And if you already have your hands right, if you have your hands above your head, then you can complain about that. But if not,
yeah,
it's kind of on
kinda
you.
on you.
Because, yeah.
Yep.
Agreed. I mean, to be fair, it's every week I'm telling somebody, "Are you dead? Put your head." Sometimes it's Heston.
Yep.
But it's everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody does it.
I do it a lot too. I always ask people, "Are you dead?"
Mm-hmm.
And another thing to remember too is I know that sometimes it can be like tiresome to keep your hand above your head like that.
Sure.
What I do is just put the tip of my sword and lay it on my head. Like that's enough for people to know, hey,
Sure.
I'm dead. You know.
Still above your head.
Right.
Mm.
So I'm good with that. You're up. You got one?
I read
That was
mine.
his.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, mine says, been a lot of questions in the suggestion box about lords and clans lately. However, the answers to these questions are found in the clans section in the rule book. Can we have a ruling that someone must pass the squire test in order to start a clan?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I have no issue with this at all.
Here, what I'm wondering is there anybody that tried to start a clan
That couldn't.
that hadn't passed it?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I'll have to look
I
into
mean,
it.
apparently, or I guess maybe not.
Somebody's aggravated about something. We'll look into it.
I think it's a good idea.
I agree. I mean, if a squire can't be in the battle for the crown, how could they run a clan? So I
Mhm.
actually agree with this.
And just to reiterate, too, another thing that we've kind of made a ruling on in the past, but I don't know if I changed it yet in the rule books. Maybe that's something I need to do, and I could be failing in that regard. But is that you can't pick any abilities until you pass the squire test either. So
True.
if you're using abilities right now and you haven't passed the squire test, I'm talking to you. You need to pass the
We're
squire
talking
test.
to you, buddy.
You know who you are.
You.
That's right, you.
Right there. You know who we're talking about.
And so, yeah, I agree with that. And also, like I said, really, people need to be passing the squire test to be doing much of anything outside of, being a brand new player, like, basically. If you're brand new, I get it. But after you've been there for, like, a couple months, even if you're not level 2 yet, I feel like people should be trying to get that out of the way. And also, on the pros of getting that out of the way is not only can you pick abilities and stuff like that, but you never have to mess with that again. Like, even if the rules change a little bit here or there, we keep you updated with them, but there's no other type of, like,
Right.
test, quote unquote, that you have to pass.
Not only that, but you get like a lot of XP for it.
Yeah, it's like 250
Yeah.
XP. I mean, when you
So-
look at the XP rate, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's almost a day.
So,
It's more than a day. I've gotten like 80 XP in a day before and been in every event.
mhm.
So, but anyway,
So it's definitely worth it, especially if you're starting out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
agreed.
And you never have to pass that. You never have to do that again, even if you start another character. So if you start another character, you're not considered a squire. You're just a level 1 of that character.
Right.
So you never have to go back and do that squire test again. So I don't think it's too much to ask as a
I don't think so either.
minimum.
And you get to learn the abilities. Like, that's an important factor here. You know what I mean?
Mhm. And you don't have to learn all the abilities. You just have to learn the abilities that are basically at the level that you're at. And even that isn't necessarily part of the squire test, but that's kind of part of the other. It sort of is loosely related to the squire test in that that's another thing you have to do whenever you level. To be able to pick abilities at whatever your new level is, you have to make sure you've at least roughly went over all the other abilities of all the other classes, but only at that level.
Right. Which is good because it really slows down the game. If I'm fighting Cody and I don't know the abilities and he's using shocking on me and I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
what does shocking do in the middle of the game? Like, that sucks. Like, it
Mhm.
happens. You
Yeah.
can ask questions, but it does slow the game down, and
Mhm.
we would
and
prefer you
sometimes
to
gets
just know.
Cody killed, sometimes gets
Yeah.
you
Sure.
killed if you're just sitting there
Sure.
trying to talk or whatever and answer a question for somebody or whatever.
There's definitely times I've webbed people and I've had to explain how it works, and then it's like a whole.
Rigamaroo.
Yep.
A rigamaroo?
Yeah.
Is that a real
I
phrase?
think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong there, or it might have. I don't know what the origins of that phrase is, but yeah, rigamaroo. I'm pretty sure is a word or a phrase,
Okay.
a term.
If you say so.
But yeah, and the logic behind that is that you will always look at the abilities that are of your class at your level because you're going to pick those abilities. I'm assuming that the people will already have a good understanding of all their abilities, probably above the level that they're even going to achieve next because they're thinking about how they're going to build their characters and stuff. But one of the things you don't always do is look at everybody else's abilities at that level. whenever. That's pretty relevant, especially considering I look at those abilities at every other level whenever I'm putting an ability in, because I need to make sure that
It's
counters
balanced.
exist. Yeah, yeah. And that it's at the right place for everybody else too, so that the counters and stuff exist.
Right.
Said that twice, I think. Anyway, this one says, I'll read this last one last because that might have like a story or something to it. This one says, Blood Pact, max bleed out. Okay, so this is basically saying, I put this one in here to help me remember. So the idea was from Death Knights, so it could be that this is what they're trying to counter is whenever you use Blood Pact. Blood Pact is a Death Knight ability that they can use infinitely. So whenever Death Knight goes to fight you, unless they're going to use like a different ability that has limited uses on you, they're probably going to just be yelling Blood Pact the whole time they're attacking you.
They should.
Yeah, I mean, you almost have to spam it in case you kill the person, and then if you do, they become and you're also letting them know, hey, I'm trying to Blood Pact you right now. That way, if they do die, they know to turn around and immediately start like defending you or attacking the people around you or doing whatever you say, because as soon as you as soon as a Death Knight kills somebody with Blood Pact, that person becomes a 1 HP quote-unquote skeleton that works for the Death Knight. Well, the problem is that person sometimes won't try really hard to like win or fight, and they'll go and like, put minimum effort into their fight, and then they die pretty quick.
Which is whack, by the way.
So the counter to that is what they want to implement, which I think I agree with, but we can talk about it a little bit. Is that so I need to go back just a little bit. How the duration of the Blood Pact is supposed to be whatever level the Death Knight is times 100. So if I'm level 2,
seconds, just to be clear.
Yeah, times 100 seconds. Yeah. So if I'm level 2, I kill you, and then I say Blood Pact.
And I'm yours for 200 seconds.
Yeah, and you'll be like,
hypothetically.
Right. What's going on? I'd be like, yeah, it's 200 seconds. You're my 1 HP skeleton. You're like, okay, and you turn around, and you start trying to fight for me. What they want to be able to do is if you just run off and die or whatever, or don't fight very hard, or even if you do just happen to die pretty quick and you're trying really hard, that you have to stay on the ground for the rest of that time.
Oh, wow.
So you have to be bleeding out for the rest of whatever time they would have had you, so that you're still eliminated for that amount of time. You don't get up.
I don't agree with that,
you
but we can have a conversation about this.
But you're also mutilated, so you can't be resurrected or healed or anything like that. But you have to stay there,
crazy.
So you don't go res.
Because
otherwise you're going to go res and come right
that
back
makes
out.
that ability at the low level that it is, like you can just CC somebody like that. That's crazy.
But you can't make it high level either, because the higher level you are, the longer the CC would be.
Yeah, I think that the problem exists with the players' lack of effort, and I don't think that we change it to something that broken for that reason. I think there's probably a medium ground here.
Would a better alternative be, instead of like times, it's like at like say you're level 3, it's 30 seconds, so you still get punished for?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I disagree with that. 300 seconds is a
long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
5
an
minutes.
entire event.
Mhm.
Sometimes.
That's 5 minutes. Yeah.
So it's like 30 seconds at level 3, like 50 at level 5 might be a better for a level 1 ability.
I actually kind of agree.
Well,
I think that you should reduce it dramatically.
My only problem would be with that is it's going to make it even more complicated as far as like it. I guess you could, if it was written that way, it would make sense. And once someone got it explained to them, then it would make sense. Like, okay, so you're level 3, you Blood Pact me for 300 seconds. I'm your skeleton, but as soon as I die, I got a 30-second bleed out.
Yeah.
And I'm mutilated.
I think that's better. And here's kind of my reasoning.
And just to be clear, too, mutilated doesn't mean you can't be looted. That used to mean that, but I don't want to start that misconception. So,
right.
But anyway, go ahead.
My reasoning is, as someone who does, if I get Blood Pacted, I do give maximum effort.
Right.
I try to win for that person.
I do too.
That's like my goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like as a player who does give effort that I should be punished in any way because of people not giving effort. That's not fair. So that's my thought process there. If I am going to be punished, I think it should be like dramatically less. Like he said, if I'm level 5, then I'll lay there for 50 seconds if that's what I got to do.
And you could even make it to where like, because I know they get like summons at higher levels that they have to actually spend points for, and they're not unlimited. You can maybe do it for those because they're burning a point for that ability to use it. And if someone just kills themselves and they don't try, you've wasted a skill point.
And to be fair, I understand what this person is saying. Like, I know the players out there that they're talking about. I've experienced it. I've experienced it in Minion. I've just experienced exactly what they're talking about. And it is frustrating. But I don't know that we should punish all players because of a few players that decide that they're not going to give effort. But that's just my thought process. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's your call. It's just my opinion on things. So.
Okay. Well,
So,
I don't know
there you go.
what I'm gonna do yet, I guess.
Fair enough.
But I'd like to hear some more feedback from everybody. So if you come out next weekend, let us know, or let us know down in the comments. I know
Yeah, please do.
people have been interacting a little bit more in the comments. I think on one of the last couple of videos I looked at, and there was a whole bunch of comments on
Yeah.
it. So
I try to comment sometimes, but yeah, I get it.
so if you have any feedback on that, please comment and let us know. Did you get done saying whatever you wanted to say about it?
I was just gonna say I agree with Daveen. My main concern would be like, say like there are times when you get turned into a skeleton and you immediately get killed, and then
Mhm.
you're just stuck there for like 300 seconds.
And yeah, right. It'd be like in that situation, it'd be an infinite, or not infinite, but infinite use
And
CC ability.
and,
Then
like,
it becomes that.
theoretically, you could even like say there's a really good player, you could kill them and then make them kill themselves immediately by charging, and then you've CC'd that player for like 5 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it
That
has the
regardless of
potential
what
to be
they're
very
doing.
broken. I could, if I was a Death Knight and I killed Rand, for instance, who's a very good player, and I said, Rand, I want you to go run into the middle of that group over there and do what you
Just
can for me,
eat
and he
it.
dies, and I'm level 6. Now you have to lay there for 600 seconds.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you're mutilated, so you can't even be revived or
But if it was the other way, it'd be like 60 seconds.
yeah, which is
reasonable.
reasonable.
So
And
after you die as a skeleton, you do 10% of whatever time you were.
That to me
Blood
seems a lot
packed
more
it.
reasonable
I agree.
than
You bleed out another-
600 seconds.
Mhm. It still punishes people who like try and who don't try, but it doesn't punish people who do try.
And to be fair, I feel like this is happening more in like Scramble and Minion and games like that, where I mean it happens in like Last Man Standing and stuff too, but that doesn't hurt that player at that point. Like if I'm in Last Man Standing and I've been blood packed, I'm already out of the game. So it doesn't hurt them in that scenario, but it will hurt them in a scenario where they can respawn.
Like team battles or like even
Plus, I
like,
was just thinking, like, let's say you're in Minion, right? Because we've talked about, me and Gregor have talked about how this works. Like when you're in Minion and you kill somebody, they become your minion. But if you blood packed them, they're like, they just became your minion through the blood pact. So what we said, or what I told him was, well, then they still fight for you as a 1 HP skeleton, and when they die, they go res, and,
And
they're
then they still come
your
back
minion.
to you. Yeah.
Now in this situation, he's gonna CC his own minion
Yeah.
out
that's
of
true.
the game for like increasingly
Yeah.
longer
I
times.
still feel like you could use that to your advantage though. I still feel
yeah,
like
but I still feel like it'd be a disadvantage in a way, because then if nobody gets back to him in time to defend him, you could use it as and have an advantage if you had big enough team or whatever,
Sure.
But
Mhm.
in some situations, it may be even worse to do that, because then they're going to take longer to get back to you.
True. I just feel like I guess
I
my
think it's a good
thought
balance.
my thought is that it gives
What you were saying.
a possible advantage that a low level ability doesn't necessarily need.
Like imagine using it in like clan battle. Like you could
Yeah.
basically kneecap a clan for
Yeah.
like the entire battle.
But yeah, because we've done that before. I mean, you remember the
Mhm.
Knights of Oblivion? We were kind of one person heavy. And if you eliminate that one person for 600 seconds, you're just going to blow through the clan. You know what I mean? Like,
And
I don't
that's-
know. I feel like it's too broken
Mhm.
in a way.
That makes sense.
But I do agree with making it like
Yeah, there should be a small punishment.
I do agree with making it for like the higher level abilities that aren't unlimited, like making it to where it's like 100 seconds per level, because they have to spend a point to use it.
Or even just 100 seconds, because I'm not sitting there for 500 seconds.
Are you talking about for like?
He's talking about
neat-
summon abilities.
The higher like summon abilities I think aren't you have to use a skill point for.
Yeah, well,
I
they're
don't
not
agree with that
summons,
either, but
they're you talking about like the other one that whoever has, somebody else has this one, meat puppet, I think it's called.
Yeah, the
which
higher
is
level.
basically just a healable man damage minion.
Yeah.
But they're still
well,
they're
even
still
like
it's just 100 seconds per level.
at
But
some point, wizards can like summon golems
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean, are you talking about doing it with everything or only certain
no,
abilities?
just the
I just feel like it
Death Knight
complicates
stuff.
things a lot more than it needs to be. But if you did 10 seconds per level, I would be okay with that.
I'd be okay with it too.
I guess it depends on. There are some other abilities outside of the Death Knight class that are created by killing another person, and that person.
Right.
A lot of them are Death Knight abilities, or like Shadow Priest abilities. I think there's some that do that make you
Mhm.
like immune. You can't
It's
talk
true.
and like do crazy stuff.
I just feel like this has been brought up because there's somebody with that ability, but it's going to continue to be a problem as we move forward.
Yeah.
So if you like that idea or you have some different ideas, let us know down in the comments, and we're gonna move on to the next thing. So I have
Perfection.
Daveen, which is not actually would have been your name, I guess.
No, that's fine,
But
though.
at the time,
I have an answer for this. Go ahead and go
Okay,
ahead
it
and
says,
ask.
do you remember when Theron used Befriend to win Battle for the Crown?
I don't remember that. I don't think it ever happened. I don't think Theron ever got that high level. I will say this, though. When we were out at property, Fenric would use Befriend on me, and there was nothing I could do about it. So it would ultimately end up in a tie all the time. Like, it would be like him and me at the end of the game. He'd be like, Befriend. And I had no answer for it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's last man standing. Congratulations. Neither one of us won.
Yeah.
I feel
Cool.
like I do remember that happening though. Where
With
someone
Befriend?
at like for Battle for the Crown, I'm pretty sure that happened before.
It certainly wasn't Theron, because I'm pretty sure, even though I enjoyed Theron, I'm pretty sure Theron never got above like level 5 or 6. He was actually like probably the weakest character I've ever had.
I mean, if I had Befriend, that's something I would do.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's smart.
Yeah.
I just don't remember it happening. I'm curious to know who asked that question. If you're not embarrassed or whatever, let us know in the comments how you remember that going down, because I don't remember it, and I feel like I would if it were to happen. But
It'd be a cool way to win Battle for the Crown.
yeah,
Yeah, it would. But would you really win it? Would you win it?
dude, I don't know, man. It seems cheeky. How does that work?
I think I would intervene if that happened.
I mean,
Because you're still going to have a winner. What? Well, now does that mean you would have to like bow
because they
to that
can't
person?
auto win.
Yeah,
Because
right.
I'm pretty
So-
sure the way Befriend works, can't they still attack the person they've befriended?
Mhm.
So, like, I feel like at that point, you just be like, okay, well, you have to attack first. Like, you still have to attack them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even sure that would work.
I mean, you
Yeah, I
could
don't know.
befriend a dangerous target until everyone else is dead.
Well, that's how it's
But
meant to be.
It
Yeah.
also depends on who you. Okay, like let's say if you did it to somebody, if you did it to me, I guess is what I'm saying. I would then kneel to that person and accept them as the king because they just befriended me.
That'd
But
be
it would be a role play response.
that would be
it
a cool
wouldn't
role
be
play
like
moment.
Yeah, but that's not the game.
it wouldn't be a
mechanic, though.
technical right. It'd
And
be like
we have to have an answer for the actual game mechanic, because not everybody's going to be like, okay, buddy, you win.
right. Yeah, I think I would be like
I think the
you
way
can't make an attack until I'd be like, you can't attack the other person, but but you can defend yourself until they get a hit. If they kill you, you're
that's
dead.
not how it works, though. I think it's like just if they attack
If they
you.
have to if you have to defend
If
yourself
you have
against
to
them.
defend them at all.
So then it has to be the first hit that they make, I guess. Like it needs to be a really good one.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's meant to be used, from my understanding, if I was a paladin,
Yeah, I
I
guess
had
I would-
Befriend, and we were all on the field, and I didn't want to deal with you because you were too strong.
Right.
I'd be like, I befriend you.
As a way to get rid of you for a while, but not necessarily
Right, but
like,
at
break
the end of the game,
Right.
at the end of the game, I still have to fight you.
Right.
like-
Or hope they die at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would work
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
But I don't know that it could be used as a way to win Battle
Also-
for the Crown.
Cure Omen exists, and
True.
befriend is
There's
an add-on.
abilities that get rid of it, but
Yeah.
sometimes there's going to be a position where someone uses Befriend and the
True.
other person can't.
I was
do
actually
anything
gonna
about it.
ask.
And
if
they're
it-
going to be forced to and then I guess I would intervene in a role play way, and I'd be like, hey, we can't leave the battle, we can't leave this field like this, we must have a king,
Right.
and although you seem to be friends now, you must attack him, and I'd basically be like, you have to.
Right.
Mhm.
And like the person that had been befriended would be like, well, I can't attack him. He's my friend. But then like the moment that other person attacks him, like it's on.
Right, exactly, and then that person could immediately begin to just go engage in a regular fight, like
Mhm.
and it would be even like they could even role play it to be even more extreme, like how dare you attack me?
thought we were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
yeah, that would work.
unfortunately, I just don't remember that happening. That would have been awesome,
Yeah.
but I just don't remember it.
Hmm.
So that's my answer. Though, again, it has happened to me before. I just never was a high enough level paladin to be able to use that ability. So, but I've been on the
And
other
that-
side of it.
Also, warriors get inoculated. They could inoculate
So
themselves
it
against.
inoculates a goaded ability.
Could inoculate themselves
Dude.
against befriend.
Yeah.
That would be sick. Because then they're like,
Like,
befriend.
I'm not your friend.
And yeah, you'd be like, no.
That would be pretty cool.
I've
Though,
been
to be
inoculated
fair,
against such attacks.
If I
And then
had
you're like,
befriended somebody
"We're
and they tried
enemies."
to inoculate, because you have to like inoculate one,
you have to
inoculate
previously
two.
have inoculated.
Oh,
to
is that
do
how
it.
that works?
Yeah, it's you're a 30. It's a 30-second slow. It's a cast first of all with the band on your
Right,
head,
right.
and then for 30 seconds you're slowed, and you have to count those 30 seconds, or 100 seconds, I think it is. 30 or 100.
I don't
can't
think it's
remember.
100. 100 would be
I thought
ridiculous.
it was 30.
And then, okay, so it might be 30. After those 30 seconds, you're just inoculated. It's just like Divine Shield or whatever for limb damage. So the next cure element hits you, you just say, inoculate. And it just means, hey, I already previously inoculated myself.
I will say this because this is hilarious. When we were back on property before, that was a thing. Like the game would start and you just hear inoculate 1, inoculate 2,
Yeah.
like over and over. And then
Yep.
people would just like rush at those people.
I remember I had Achilles heel on property, and as soon as it started, I'm like, I kneel down, like quickly hurry and try and tie the band, like Achilles, and I have like 6 people on top of me sometimes.
That's funny because I just saw you like make a reference like going to your leg. My Achilles heel was always on my. If I were to have it, I don't
Yeah.
actually. I don't think I ever got it. But had I had it, it would have gone on my shield arm.
I used a spear. I had a spear, and I put it on my back leg.
That makes sense.
And you got to be careful about that too, though, because if you ghost strike,
yeah,
you're
you're
dead.
dead.
Boom,
Yeah.
It's
you're
over.
dead. Yeah.
And that's
And-
like something I try to tell people when they come out there. You know, they want to complain about shields and how good they are. I'm like, no, they're good now. You don't understand. Eventually, shields are so trash.
Mhm.
You don't want a shield at some point.
Yeah, because then not only do you have to get out of the way, but you also have to get your big ass shield out of the way.
Yep.
Because if it gets, there's some abilities that'll just straight kill you
I
by hitting
know.
your shield.
Magic missile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we can't, copy the effects of a homing magic missile. So we're just like,
Yep.
well, if it hits you anywhere at all, you're dead. And so that
Which is crazy.
the main method from getting away from packets, there's only a few abilities that they don't have to actually strike you with something. But the main method to get away from packets, like if you don't know what an ability does, dodge that whole
Dodge it.
thing. Yeah,
Right.
dodge that, jump out of the way of that thing.
Rand is incredibly good at dodging, despite his big shield. I've seen him do some impressive dodges.
As an example, we have basically one wizard out there. It's Heston Iverson.
Yep.
Mhm.
When I fight Heston right now, I'm not worried about him throwing his stuff at me. But there's going to be a time when I don't want him to hit me with anything.
Yeah, and
Like right now, because you got like web
I got
And-
web.
and
and-
magic
right.
stone, which doesn't hurt
Yeah.
me really, not
Mhm.
really. And so like I'm not worried about him hitting me with packets
Mhm.
right now. So I just let him hit. But eventually he's gonna have freaking fireball and magic
Lightning
missile
bolt, which
and all
I-
that.
or whatever
Screw
it's
that.
called.
I'm
yeah,
not
it's like
getting.
any of the upper level ones
Yeah.
over what you have right now start
Even at
doing
level-
stuff to you.
Even
like,
at level 5, they get like the it's like lightning something where you hit the shield and they just lose that arm.
Which is
Mhm.
wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and I've told people this too. When I look at the classes, I mean, I think wizard and rogue at higher level are the hardest ones to deal with. Because eventually what happens is you'll have warriors who can like just destroy each other's stuff, and they'll go at each other and just destroy each other's shields and swords, and
Mhm.
you're like, okay, well, what do we do now? Headbutt, like,
Mhm.
but eventually, like those rogue abilities and those wizard abilities are going to be wild. And I've never seen a super high level rogue or a super high level wizard, and I'm curious to see it because I think it's gonna change the game a lot because people are
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh god, I want to be that.
Mhm.
I've been trying to get more wizards out there. I think it's a cool class. There's a lot of variety in how you play it.
Mhm.
Oh, I agree with
It'd
that.
be really, really cool to have a class of all wizards. You know what would really, really be crazy, or a clan rather, a clan of all instruction wizards would be really wild. Because then your wizards could literally wield weapons like non.
Oh, yeah, you can
could
just give 'em a
you could allow
spear.
each other to wield other stuff.
Or a bow or like
Yeah.
throwies and stuff. Yep.
And turn your
It's wild.
dude, that'd be wild.
I will say, I think
Even
at
just two
some point,
instruction wizards would be wild.
Mm-hmm.
and I would not be shocked to see this, and I think it would be a good thing for Phlarp. I think Phlarp's constantly evolving in that when a new class becomes really good, people want to play that class, and I think that's good for Phlarp, even financially, because
Mhm.
we can respec. It costs us some money, but we can respec. And I think eventually, if somebody sees a really good level wizard, I want to play wizard. Here's $300. I want to play wizard.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
And now you're a wizard at your level.
Right.
So you didn't even have to go through the rough times
Yep.
to even.
No offense.
No,
right, right.
Maybe eventually I'll be a wizard too.
Yeah.
Who knows? When I slow down and can't fight no more,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now you don't want to come out. I wouldn't want to go at a high level wizard. They got packets and screw
Mhm.
that.
Have like an
wild.
army of like summons too.
You could.
Yep.
Yeah, just a whole lot of other complicated stuff, but outside of
I think
you know.
it's obstruction. They had like a level 1 like ranged disarm, which is crazy, by the way.
Wow.
But they can't take destruction, but they could take at level 5 expanded spellbook.
It's the Harry Potter one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they get expanded spellbook.
what do they say?
Expelliarmus.
Is it, yeah,
Expelliarmus?
you're right.
Is it Expelliarmus?
Expelliarmus.
Yep.
Expelliarmus. That's pretty cool.
I just like the good expanded spellbook at level 5 where it's like, but you can actually take the abilities from the other school if you want, level 5 and below. So
It's cool. Speaking of which, maybe we should slip in a code word right now. I think the code word should be Merlin. Talking about
agree.
wizards.
Sounds good
So,
to me.
there you go.
That's it.
Make sure you fit that into a sentence or some kind of conversation. And if you talk to North, make sure he knows exactly what you're talking about.
And you better listen to the whole thing because we might change it.
Which is exactly what we did last week.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the few people that came up to me and mentioned the code word today mentioned both code words.
Mhm.
They were like, I didn't like that you changed it halfway through. Actually, one person didn't know the second word. They had
Right.
listened to it, got the code word that they thought it was. They told me the code word. I was like, that's not the code word. They're like, did you change it? I'm like, we sure did.
Yep.
I
We did.
I always try and
Switching it up on them.
I always try and role play the code word. I remember one time it was Milky Way,
Mm-hmm.
and I did it to you, and you were like going along with it, and you're like,
You got to be careful with that
yeah,
guy,
man.
Like, I know not what universe we reside in. You're like, okay, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
trying to give you the code word, man.
Eventually, they just get frustrated and go, that's the code word.
Now I
Yeah,
like
they
ro-
really do that, so
Yeah.
kind, but like low, but they'll
Yeah.
they'll be like,
Like, are you stupid?
Or you get it? Or
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm like,
do
I-
now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Mhm.
It's been a week, you know? It's been a week.
Anyway, so the new code word is
Merlin.
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 Okay,
At least for now.
right.
But yeah,
Okay.
You wanna do
so
a recap?
Move on to recap. Yep.
I don't feel like I should do it. I'm in it a lot.
Oh, okay. Oh, do you want me to do it?
Yeah, just because I don't like talking about myself, you know?
Okay.
That's
so
not true. I really do like talking
It's
about
true.
myself. Hey. No, I agree. I do like
I'm
talking
the most humble person I know.
Yeah, okay.
I love that phrase.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, before we get started on this, though, I
Okay.
do have a play of the day, and it involves me, but it wasn't me. It was against me.
Oh, okay.
So during the tournament, I fought Eldron. I think it was the open one. So we both had shields and swords, but it was the open event.
Okay.
And he might have gotten like the sickest kill on me that I've ever had against me ever. And just like a melee, whatever. It was one of those like where you go swipe one time and like move to the other side. Cody does it a lot when he fights.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like usually those don't get me. I'm usually pretty quick with it. And I
Mhm.
think he was just a lot faster than I was expecting him to be. And man, he just smoked me on the side. Had it not been the best of 3 rounds, I would have lost. I was not expecting that speed from him. So
Dang.
shout out to Eldron. That was a really cool kill. As far as
Awesome.
I'm concerned, play of the day.
Cool.
So how about that for humble?
Eldron is really quick.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's better than people realize
Yeah.
he is. He actually joined, and oh man, I'm gonna butcher there. What is Vix's clan's
The
name?
Midnight. Is it the
Vix's is Chaos Company.
Oh, Chaos Company. That's
so
what it is.
he joined Chaos Company apparently a few weeks ago. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
So,
he did. He's a really high quality player to have because he's also smart at the game.
yeah,
He's very smart.
and he shows up for the most part,
Yep.
which is nice. I mean, that's the most important thing to me. So, but anyway, continue on.
I had a play of the day of mine, and it involved not me.
That's good. Hey, that's a first.
I was watching the players, but the problem is I can't remember who it was. They shot an arrow, or I think they were facing away, and they had shot an arrow or something, and then somebody ran past them and tried to take a swing at them, and they ducked it without even actually turning and looking at the person.
That
They
is
just
pretty
they
cool.
heard them go clump, clump, clump up on them, and they spun and like ducked down out of the way, and it was a perfect duck away from the swing. I was
You know
like, whoa, what was
What's
that?
crazy is I don't
I
think
can't even remember who the players were involved. So whoever you
Most-
are, good job.
people don't realize how important that skill is, like that sixth sense of knowing what's around you, because some
Mhm.
people can just feel it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I always know when somebody's coming up behind me, always.
There's a
And there's
thing,
been players that have been better at it than me, and like that is just such an underrated skill in my opinion.
there's a thing that shield users will do if they're able to do it
Just
with it,
put
where
their
they'll put
shield
their
behind
shield
it.
behind their back, and I've been blocked by that, where I was trying to kill somebody,
Same.
run up behind them,
Yeah.
and then hit their shield.
Rand
I'm
does
like,
it a lot.
Rand is
crap. Like, how did they
impressive
do
at it.
that?
Speaking of which, that kill we talked about with Takimura last week with
Mhm,
Rand, it
mhm.
was on the video during last week's podcast,
It
and
was.
it's pretty cool.
You just see him running,
You
and
just
he
see
like,
him running, and then he
flops
just
over.
like,
and
like
like just falls.
it just was
Yeah.
perfect timing. Like it was amazing.
Nice.
But yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
so recap.
Okay, recap. So today we played a tournament when we first got there.
Speaking
It
of
was
which,
Vix's
shout out to Vix and
Gregor.
Gregor
yep.
for not only organizing and setting up and putting a lot of time and effort into
And
you know
money.
throwing the tournament and also the prizes. Yeah, because they had actual prizes.
They had literal medals, like actual
Yeah,
bronze
that-
medals,
right.
and then obviously the sword that first place got. It was very cool.
So yeah, I may not be reading this right. Okay, this was this
Okay, what do you need?
tournament of. So there was a short. So there are different categories within
Right.
the tournaments today.
There
I
were
think.
four basically categories of the tournament. A couple got cut out because we may not have had enough players for that or whatever.
Mhm.
So
Okay, and then there was also an overall point system that they were doing. I'm not totally sure on how they were doing it, but basically there were also points awarded for like how well you did overall, basically.
right, it was based on like how far you made it in these particular categories.
Oh, okay.
So that's how the tournament worked.
Okay. So the winner of the sword and shield category was Daveen. So
Okay,
good
that
job.
was my
Good
little
job.
happy dance. Thank you. Humble brag.
Daveen.
Yep.
And then the winner of the dual wield category was Lord Reese.
Yep, good job. And he actually killed me in that tournament. Congratulations to Lord
Cool.
Reese. That was a pretty nice kill.
Good job, everybody. And then in the polearm category, the winner was Trinity.
Which everyone kind of expected that.
Yeah.
He killed me in that one too.
Yeah, we had a close fight, but
I did actually kill him today too, and it's like I told him, I said, I don't know if I've ever killed you openly, like because I went for him and he just couldn't pull his spear back in time enough for me to get around him, and he did kind of hit my arm and like, he might have even hit my side at the end, but he said, or I think I said, oh, did you get me? And he said, no, you got me first. But
He's a good sport about
I
taking
was
his
able
hits,
to
and
like
he's
get
awesome.
inside his spear, which is really
That's
hard
how
to
you
do
have
with
to
him.
do.
You have
to. That's the only way to beat that.
Mhm. And he
And
knows that
especially
too,
now
so
that
he's
he-
really good at pulling
Dude,
it
I
way
know.
back.
And
at
now
him.
that he has the abilities that he has as a champion warrior, like it's gonna be really hard
Yeah.
killing him. But
yeah, and especially when he uses them in tandem, like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
What was it? He was using taunt and then disarm.
taunt disarm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
dude. That's
I
like
have
a-
to like specifically get ready to drop my shield when I fight him now because he disarms me every dang time.
Right.
Yeah, he's also really good about pulling it all the way back like his spear.
get
So
outside
you have
of
to
your-
get as
yeah.
close as
Mhm.
possible to like for the taunt.
And
And
he's quick. Yeah.
That's
really
the other thing.
quick.
Like shocks me how fast he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'll think I'm out of range of him, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna square up, and then I'm dead. Like before I even think in my head, before I can even get to the
He's good
point where
with
I'm
the
like,
dang
okay, here we
polearm.
go,
It's like
and then I'm just
annoying
dead.
how good he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you please do worse?
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so he won that.
And then the open, which
You could just
I
use
guess
whatever you wanted, basically.
okay.
They just combined all the categories. You can use whatever
against
combination
whatever.
of weapons you wanted, which I was cheeky and used the sword and board again.
I did
but
too.
I think that's the play, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and the winner of that, of course, was Daveen.
Me again.
Again.
Me again. Yeah.
So good job, Daveen.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I did try really hard today. I do wish that some of our other heroes could have been there today because there were some good fighters that weren't there.
Mhm.
But that's okay.
Fair enough. And
Yeah.
then the overall, so then back to the point system, there was the point system that existed. So
This was like for the overall winner of the whole thing. Yeah.
right. So third was, we'll start with third and go up. Third was Magnus.
And
So
congratulations to Magnus.
Congratulations,
job, bud.
Magnus, even though you won't hear it. Actually, he has been listening to the podcast more recently. So.
Well, there's a reason for that, but we won't get into that.
Okay. And then second place was Lord Reese. So congratulations to Reese with 19 points. Magnus had 18.
Right?
And then in first place was Daveen
Woo!
with 29 points.
That's right.
Woo, good job, Daveen.
Thanks. Appreciate
you win.
that.
And what did you win?
A really dope sword. I don't have it on me. It's in my
Oh, okay.
my chariot, if you will. But it was very cool. And
There's like an ornate.
yeah, like it's definitely like a display sword of sorts. Like I don't
Mhm.
think you're meant to use it, but it's beautiful, and I'm very happy to have it, and very thankful for Vix and Matt Hill for purchasing it for the tournament. It was very awesome.
Yeah. So once again, shout out to them for throwing everything and
Was
doing a really
awesome.
good job. Thank you, Vix and Gregor. We really appreciate all the time and effort that you put into it.
Yeah.
So
And I know you guys created this tournament in the hopes of getting some recruits. I hope you find those.
Lady Vix, I guess.
Yeah.
It's called Lord Reese. So.
Well, I think Lord is like one of those like terms that you can use for anybody because it's like you're
It could
a
be
lord.
like Lord Vix.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I'll call her.
I made
Vix,
Lady
but I'm just saying,
Elizabeth. I made Lady Elizabeth not put lady on the front
She's
of her
not a
name.
lady.
Right.
She's just a regular player.
Right.
She can earn that eventually. You know.
That's what she said too. So.
Cool. That was the tournament.
Yeah, that was the tournament. So it was a pretty good deal. And then we played a last man standing.
Okay.
Third in that was Heston. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Heston.
Congrats,
Good job
buddy.
for making the top 3 again.
Yep.
Struggling to get into the top 3.
Racking them up.
It's only because I wasn't there.
Oh,
Just
okay.
kidding. You're good. I will say this. Whenever I
Just
play
kidding,
Last
you're
Man
good.
Standing, no, he's a good player. But nowadays, I'm basically, if I play Last Man Standing or Minion, I pick a direction and go with it. I don't care who's in that direction. It just, it is what it is, because nothing bugs me more than people getting to the end by not getting involved. And I know you almost have to do that as a wizard.
Yeah.
I get that. But you're not the only one that does that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There's a handful of people that do that. And so I feel like if I'm getting in Last Man Standing now, my goal is just basically going to pick off those people that think they can just not fight.
Mhm.
Like you. No, I'm just
Yeah.
playing.
Well,
You're going to feel targeted,
yeah.
buddy.
I already am. There are people who are like in last minute, like, "Hey, Heston's alive. You should go do something about that."
I mean, I may have started that, but here's the thing, though, right? Like, so I don't want you to feel any kind of way about it. It's just like, as a marshal watching, not as a player, I see you negotiate your way out of this every dang week. And I'm like, how is he doing this?
Mhm.
He's like, I'm going to fight honorable. You two, you guys fight it out. And I'm like, how did he convince them to do that? Like, that's amazing to me.
To be fair, I said it before. I wasn't really trying to do that tactically. It just kind of worked out. So.
No, I mean, it is tactical,
Yeah.
though. It's smart. You should continue to try to
Mhm.
do it. If people are going to let you get away with doing it, do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the problem is when I try and be aggressive, like I get killed.
Well,
because
you're a
I'm-
wizard.
I'm a
You're a
wizard.
low-level wizard.
Yeah.
Eventually, people aren't going to want to fight you because
Mhm.
you're a high-level
Yep.
wizard. So, it's give and take. But either way,
And then in second place and last man standing was Yi Futin. So good job to
Yeah,
him.
congratulations, Yi.
Mhm.
He won with no arms. He
Oh,
got
really?
second and with no arms. Yep.
was he just like running away from
Yep.
people? Yeah, that
Wow.
happens.
So he had lost the arms
Yeah,
early
he
on.
had no arms.
and
That's
then
why you
just
need
made
taunt.
it to the top
And,
3.
and Trinity just didn't want to chase him, which is fair.
Is
He
that what
must have already
did he
used his
him?
taunt.
Yeah, he used
Oh.
taunt and then he disarmed him and then he took his arms and then
Told you that combination's brutal,
It's
dude.
All
lethal.
downhill from there. Huh?
Yeah.
And then Trinity, of course, won first. So
Congratulations, Trinity.
congratulations, Trinity.
There you go.
And then we also had,
Part of this was part of the tournament, the Sarvak and Wolf Moon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because at some point, this is okay. It was like an extra little reward. I get it. Okay, so we also had some sportsmanship rewards for like good sportsmanship, and those went to Sarvak and Wolf Moon.
Right. And which
Which
was
is cool.
basically just them being really cool about taking their hits and those kind of things. Like, I feel like they just did a good job of acknowledging when they got out. You know?
Also, Sarvak was sporting his elf ears
I
today, which
noticed
was
that.
nice.
his costume
I
looks
know.
good. It's
Yeah.
a sick costume.
It was cool to see him back too, because it had been a little while since
Yeah,
he had
he's
been
a blast.
out. So,
Yeah, I was almost worried that he wasn't coming back.
Mhm.
I was like, man, I kind of miss Sarvak.
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess the only other game we played because
The tournament took up a lot of the day.
yeah.
And a lot of our players.
Mm-hmm. And then so the last game we played was Minion, and the winner of Minion was Heston. So congratulations,
Thank you.
Congratulations, Heston.
Why don't you tell us how you won? What was your tactics? what
Um,
was your
Smart.
strategy?
Yeah.
Get lucky.
Oh well,
It's not a
that
luck-based
worked.
game.
I got a few good kills early, and thankfully I got Wilhelm, and I had lost an arm in the process, and then my shield guy lost his shield in the process, so I just had Wilhelm come back and heal both of us, and
Which is, pocket healer is
saw
like
that happening.
goated.
yeah,
And I was explaining to a new player how to play, and I said, "See that? I said, see how he just made Wilhelm heal him? I said, Wilhelm probably didn't want to use his heals or
Mhm.
whatever, but like because he's his minion, he has to."
Yeah.
Right.
I was actually
First-
smart about it. I made him heal Pius first, so I had an extra shield to block, so when he healed me, I was safer.
Nice.
And
This
then
is very smart.
I just kind of like told everyone at the end to like, I want like the fastest people behind me to chase anyone who tries to run up behind me, and I want like my shields in front. I had two
That's
other shield
technically
people.
not what he said. He had people confused because he said, "I want the best fighters,
Yeah,
or
I
the
did
good
say
fighters
that.
up front, and I want the fast people
Yeah,
behind me."
I
And
did
then
like.
there was
yeah.
somebody who was like, "Oh, well, that's kind of subjective. Who's you know what I mean?" Like just giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
I knew what he meant, but either way. But yeah, you did a good job. And
Yeah.
I'll even tell you this: like there was a moment in my opinion, the most defining moment of that Minion event. it was you and Pius and somebody else squared off against me and Gregor and Yefuten. And we were about to fight it out, and I felt like we could handle it. I really did. And all of a sudden, here comes Magnus up behind us, throwing throwies at us and everything else. So I'm like completely trying to focus on Magnus while they're fighting the other two.
He's webbed.
And then next thing you know, Gregor, me, and Yefuten are all on Heston's team, and it was pretty much over after
Yeah.
that. There was no chance that he wasn't winning after that. We fought hard for you.
I will say web is an insanely good ability in situations like that because you just web a target and you're like, all right, surround him.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is
yeah,
true.
that's true.
Yeah, it's
And then
it's
there's-
really
He did
Is
web.
web, does web root or does it
It
slow?
root.
Damn.
Yeah,
It
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 roots.
roots.
roots. It roots, but I mean, you can still like pivot.
you can pivot, but there's
But the
you can't-
to me, the problem there was the other team or the other guy that got involved because we were getting attacked by two sides. But either way, it was smart planning on your guys' part.
And then, kind of like what you said, I don't know if those first two people or those first few people you got were they just like really on it with getting back to you
Yeah.
and making sure that they're because
Pius is always really good about getting back to his.
I feel like
master.
that's one of the biggest issues is like building that first team, that first
Yep.
like 2 or 3, 4 people or whatever it is making sure they get back to you without engaging anyone, without like anybody else coming over and trying to attack you or.
When
you
no
know.
one really came after me until I had like Pius back, and we were like, so then it was like a little bit easier, and then
Yeah, because when I looked over there, it was like you said,
Yep.
it was Wilhelm, you, and
Yep.
Pius, I guess, is all that was over there at
Mhm.
the time. But,
Aja,
oh, okay.
yeah,
Nice.
which
Fair
Aja
enough.
is really good at like getting sneaky back stabs.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't expect it, but he's like on top of you the moment you turn away from him.
Mm-hmm. True.
Either way, congratulations
Well,
on
it
your
paid
midnight
off.
victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So
So,
that was the
anything else?
recap.
Yep.
The only other thing is, do you have the notes with you from the
Yes.
anonymous writer?
Yes.
And let me just talk about this a little bit. So, there was an envelope put by my things. It had my name on it. When I opened said envelope, there is more from the writer.
And just so everybody knows, this is typed, so we don't even know.
There's no
way
handwriting.
for us to deduce who this is based on the like typing. Or
We can
whatever.
each take one if you want. I don't care which one.
Here.
You give me the worst one. I'll read the worst one.
Pick one. And
This
I'll
one's
take
the
what's over
worst
left
by
over.
far. This is the one at Eric, the red bloodzerker.
Okay, I'll go first.
All right.
It says, Marshal Valkyrie, the non-living entity. You call yourself a Valkyrie. Valkyries are honorable warriors. I've never seen you pick up arms. Valkyries are supposed to guide the dead from battle to Valhalla. From what I see, the dead never leave our battlefields. And then again, at the bottom, it says, Fenrir, well, that's a hard one to say. Fenrir approaches and Ragnarok comes.
It's ominous.
So the shakeup has not yet happened, whatever.
Whatever's coming.
Yeah.
Something's coming.
What do you got?
Marshal Tyra, so new yet already trying to take over as boss. She must think she is Daveen Jr. just without a shield. Fenrir approaches, Ragnarok comes.
How
Dang.
ridiculous is that they attack another marshal and I still end up in it? It is what it is. All right, this one's probably
Yeah,
the
that's
worst
true.
of
That
the
was like
bunch.
that was a backhanded
Yeah.
against you too, a little bit there.
That's all right. All right, so this one says, Ambassador Marshal Eric the Red Bloodzerker, the ex-god, in quotations. What was he god of again? Ridiculous titles, made-up abilities, long-winded speeches, lost his godhood but not his false powers. Fenrir approaches, Ragnarok comes.
Dang, that one was the worst one.
Oh,
was
for sure,
vicious.
that was savage. But yeah, that's a thing. So whoever this anonymous person is rears their ugly head again.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we can band together as a town and try to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I've thought a lot about it. I just can't come up with a name.
Whoever it is, they're really good at really getting under people's skin.
roasting everybody.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well,
That's all I
guess
got.
That's all I got too. So
We hope you keep listening.
And we hope you keep
Fighting in the name
fighting
of
in the name of
Darvishan.
Darvishan.
There you go.
and we hope to see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.